Welcome to growthtofreedom.com, the show that brings you inspiration, transformation, and leadership. We're helping you connect the dots, see the blind spots, and get unstuck so you can go out and generate more leads, more sales, more profits. More importantly, so you can go out and have a bigger reach, a bigger impact, and make a bigger contribution.
My name's Dan Kuschell, and I'm the founder of a company called Breakthrough 3X. But I think what I am most prideful of being a husband, of being a dad. I've been fortunate to start and build 13 of my own companies. I'm an angel investor. I also coach football because I love building young men. And what we do really as a company is, how a lot of people, they just seem to struggle with being able to generate a steady flow of leads or sales or revenue or profits on a daily basis. Well, what we do is we work with founders and CEOs to give them a marketing system that helps them get leads and sales, revenue, and profits every day. And more importantly, so they can get free from the day-to-day, of the business. And, it's a lot of fun. Now, the truth is, I've been doing this for 30 years. I got started all the way back in the late 1980s, early 90s, and I didn't always have success. I knock on wood every day because, the truth is in my early years, I really struggled, right? I started my very first company when I was 22. And although we had a, massive success curve out of the gate and did a couple $1 million in business pretty quickly in a few months, just as fast as we grew, I realized I didn't know how to run a business as a CEO and founder. And so there was a lot of learning. It left me on the verge of bankruptcy. It left me, questioning myself, doubting, whether I really had what it took. And then fast forward, a few years later, I've been, fortunate to build and grow 2 companies that were 8 figures that I was able to sell, exit, get free. And today we get to help a lot of founders and CEOs create that, ability to get out of the day-to-day or exit the day-to-day, or even build and sell and exit their business, or even build, sell, and go take their companies public. We've been able to help over 5,000 founders and CEOs through the years with our innovative methods to help people grow with a lot less stress. I'm often asked, Dan, why do you do what you do? And the truth is, as a kid, I grew up in the inner city of Detroit, and our family had a life that was a roller coaster, a lot of ups and downs, financially especially. And although there was a lot of love from my mom and dad, it was very unstable. It was not, what I would call the dream life, being in the inner city as a kid. My dad worked for a big giant automaker, probably the largest in the world at the time, and he got laid off like 9, 10 different times. And there were times we were on welfare as a family, and I remember being a young kid going to the grocery store. There's a grocery store at the corner of our house called Farmer Jack's. And I remember being in Farmer Jack's having to pay for our food with food stamps. And I got laughed at and, some different things, and it was humiliating. It was embarrassing. And for me, part of that, experience is what drove me to look at doing things different. In addition to that, my mom also suffered from a lot of health issues, mental and physical. And I started studying personal development at a young age. My dad, thankfully, was a catalyst, and he got me introduced through sports to being able to, work on the mind. And I remember I attended my very first seminar when I was 10 years old at Eastern Michigan University. It was a baseball clinic, and I was the only kid in the room, as I recall. It was for coaches, mostly high school, college coaches, and so on. And I'm sitting next to my dad, but I was just like scratching notes, and I'll never forget. I still have the manual from all those years ago, back in the early 80s. And one of the pages said, success in baseball and life is 90% mental. The rest is physical. And in order to do that, you have to have a positive mental attitude. And that, that little spark, that little igniter is what opened the door to so many, different possibilities. And my dad then continued to fuel my fire for learning and the mindset and the mental fitness in sports and life. And he got me biographies, and I read biographies of people like Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle and Pete Rose and all these very successful athletes. And I started noticing some of the things that they did to be successful. And it's so interesting. But again, through the course of my childhood, I also experienced, my dad started a business, and it was a little bar restaurant. And, actually he was forced to shut that business down because a motorcycle gang in the inner city of Detroit threatened to blow our house up because my dad wouldn't let them come in and harass the waitress and the staff. And I'll never forget that experience, being on my front porch and the motorcycle gang being out front. There were 4 guys revving their engines really loud and essentially threatening. And here I was, 10 years old or so, and I'm going through this experience, and I was like, this is not what I want. This is not what I want to do. Fast forward to when I was 14 years old, my dad started another business. It was a printing company. And again, because of my dad's toughness, his persistence, his resilience, I think I had one of the greatest role models in the world, similar with my mom dealing with her physical, and mental health issues and getting through that. And I'm so grateful for that foundation because it's really allowed me to apply a lot of these things in building businesses over the last 30 years. So we put together the small business growth toolkit that's really, geared to help founders and CEOs simplify some of the processes of running a business. Again, one of the things we do with our company is we help, founders and CEOs get a steady flow of new clients every day. But what happens if you double your business or triple your business? What are the common questions we ask our clients? If we help you double or triple, can you handle it? And the truth is, for a lot of founders and CEOs, the answer is no. So we need a foundation. So in addition to the marketing systems that we help install and implement with the clients we work with and partner with clients, we also have learned there's a lot that needs to be done building the foundation. And so this small business toolkit is really to help you give the foundation. Because if you ever struggled, maybe, as a founder or CEO, you're like maybe the visionary, you're the leader, you're the driver, you're a creative type personality. That's pretty common. However, were you trained to be a CEO? Probably not. On the other hand, if you're going to build a growing, especially a fast growing company, were you trained on how to hire? Right? Hiring is an art, it's a science, it's a skill, right? Another factor is, we have surveyed thousands and thousands and thousands of founders and CEOs. And we go, hey, do you have a marketing growth plan for your business for the next 1 to 3 years? And shockingly, over 95% of founders and CEOs don't have a marketing growth plan put together, not only for themselves, a lot of it is in their head, but not really formalized to then get their teams on the same page, in alignment with the right type of plan. And then last but not least are related to productivity secrets as far as influence or selling, right? Maybe you're like I was as a kid. I considered myself shy and introverted and quiet. I didn't see myself as a great salesperson. And so through the years, we've, adopted and created a lot of systems that essentially take customer service people and turn them into high performers. And it's actually a process that we call how to sell more by actually selling less. It's more conversational. It's how to turn conversations into conversion. So what we did is we put all of those tools, a CEO checklist, we put the hiring checklist, we put the how to sell more by selling less checklist, and we also put the productivity secrets together in one package. And you can go somewhere on the page, there'll be a link here where you can go on the page and get access to that toolkit 100% free to help you simplify, to get clarity, to give you more confidence, and to give you direction when it comes to being a stronger, more effective CEO, whether it's hiring, whether it's virtual team members or full-time team members, whether it's selling, maybe you're a superstar already, or maybe you consider yourself more like I was, more shy or quiet or introverted, right? Or the ability to go out and be more productive. So go get the toolkit right now, though. There's a link somewhere here on the page. You can go download it 100% free and start building and growing your business so that when you work with someone like us that can help you double or triple your business, you can handle it and your business doesn't implode. I often get asked, Dan, why did you create Breakthrough 3X? And, it's been a journey for sure. I've had over 3 decades, over 30 years of running my own companies, 13 businesses later. And the truth is, in the early years, I crashed a few companies, left me on the verge of bankruptcy and having to regroup financially and debt and all these sorts of things. And even if I go back even further, part of the reason that I wanted to start a business is watching my dad struggle with 2 companies or 2 businesses that he started. He struggled with getting clients, having cash flow, having the right marketing and selling systems in place to get him free as an owner of that business. So all of my journey for these last 30 years have been related to some version of that. Fast forward, I was fortunate that, I built a large coaching business that, grew out of my den with 1 volunteer, and that ultimately grew to over 175 employees. We were able to grow that business to over $25 million a year, right? And help a lot of people with that business. I was able to then sell that business and exit and get free from the day-to-day. I also built a publishing business, and at our peak with that publishing business, we were able to grow that business to over 10,000 new leads every single day and over 1,500 clients that were buying our education products every week. 1,500 clients. We've created over 150 different programs, courses, books, education products and services that were into our business. I was able to sell and exit that business. And after selling those 2 companies, I had a lot of people start coming to me after a period of time off, essentially, call it semi-retirement or enjoying lifestyle, whatever you want to call this craziness when you exit a business. Say, Dan, could you help me do what you did? And so Breakthrough 3X grew out of, number one, my dad, seeing someone like my dad struggling to get cash flow in order, struggling to get clients, and then being able to put a marketing system in place. And essentially, that's what helped grow the couple companies that I was fortunate to build, grow, and sell. Now, since then, it's now been over a decade. We've helped, so many different clients from so many different industries solve their biggest problems around getting leads and getting sales daily, helping them get a marketing system in place to help them grow with a lot less stress and also get free from the day-to-day. It's been a lot of fun. And, the beauty of it is, in many ways, we don't even feel like we've scratched the surface. Our mission is to help another 1,000 founders and CEOs grow their business collectively through that 1,000 new founders and CEOs, impact over 1 billion people through their products and services. In other words, we're working with impact makers. You could call it future leaders, right? Or what we would call result leaders, right? So if you're looking for a way to be able to simplify, to be able to grow with less stress and get free from the day-to-day, make sure to check us out. So what makes Breakthrough 3X so different from the competition is our unique method in our experience. Having helped over 5,000 founders and CEOs either exit the day-to-day, exit and sell, or exit to be able to go fund and become a public company brings a certain level of experience. That off the shoulders of us being able to build and grow 2 of our own companies of our own, and my experience of 13 companies I've run of my own for the last 30 plus years. So there's a body of work that most people really just can't compete with. That's first. The most important thing above and beyond that is our system, right? Michael Gerber said it best in the book, The E-Myth. He said, systems run your business, find good people to run those systems. Right? And while a lot of people focus on like their fulfillment system or customer service, what we've chosen to focus on for the better part of 30 years is helping companies, founders, CEOs, maybe like you, get a marketing and selling system in place to free you up, to bring you a steady flow of lead sales and profits. And real quickly, let me just share our unique 5-step method, right? That is so shockingly simple, yet no one really focuses on all 5. And in fact, why did we create the 5-step process and this 5-step method? Well, in reviewing over 4,000 companies over the last few years, we found that the most successful company, and we're also talking about companies we reviewed and researched like Apple, Starbucks, Amazon, and a whole lot more, some of the biggest companies in the world, as well as everyday mom and pop businesses, brick and mortar businesses, and everything in between. And what we found is these 5 criteria, these 5 steps exist in the most successful companies. And if you're missing any one of these, especially now, your chance of success decreases exponentially. So we want to help you avoid that. So the first step in our unique method here at Breakthrough 3X is, number one, is you want to establish what is called your vision and growth plan. You know, why is this important? Like, have you ever found yourself, number one, struggling to get talent on your team? Or maybe finding a team member, but they're not in alignment with you, your values, and so on. So your vision and growth plan helps bring people, get them on the same page, get them on the same sheet of music, so everybody's operating like an 8-cylinder engine, that's running effectively and efficiently. So vision and growth plan. And here's the funny part. We've surveyed thousands and thousands of founders, CEOs, maybe like you, and what we found is over 95% don't have a true written vision and growth plan for the next 1 to 3 years. So we help eliminate that. We help give you the tools to do that. So second step in your marketing and selling system is building out connection campaigns. Now, there's dozens of tactics that you can do for connection campaign. But what are our connection campaigns, which is part of our unique method? Connection campaigns are really geared to build trust and respect with your potential as well as your current clients on an ongoing basis. In other words, it never stops, right? There's an old lie that says, to get people to buy from you, they must, know, like, and trust you. And the reality is, we don't believe that to be true. It's a half truth. It's like baking a cake, but one of the ingredients you leave out of the cake, right? See, we've also surveyed and found a lot of founders and CEOs are people pleasers. And if you build a business model on the fact that people must like you, well, the reality is, if you bought something from somebody you didn't know well enough to like yet, the answer to that is yes. You've probably bought from somebody this week, from someone you didn't know well enough to like. But what did you have to have in order to buy from them comfortably? Trust and respect. Trust and respect. So these connection campaigns are geared to build trust and respect, which also what it means for you usually is the byproducts of that is it builds authority for you. It builds credibility. It does build likability, right? But it's not the main focus. It's about build trust and respect. Now, there's dozens and dozens of tactics that we help you implement and install with connection campaigns. But imagine being able to build trust and respect with a potential client before you ever ask them to buy from you, in advance. In other words, think of it like planting seeds before you ever ask for something. You're building up a lot of good karma. And then even when they come into your world, right, maybe they're a prospect and they're engaged with you, but they haven't bought yet. Now you have a different set of trust, respect, or connection campaigns. And then when they buy from you, you don't treat them transactionally, because you realize relationships are key. You keep the relationship going by continuing to add and create value for them with connection campaigns. So we help companies implement consistent systems for those connection campaigns. That's step 2. First step, vision and growth plan. Second step, connection campaigns. The third step is build your own lead machine, right? We talk to so many founders and CEOs and they go, oh, I've got 50,000 followers on XYZ platform, and another 10,000 on that platform. And then we go, well, how big is your database? In other words, the list of people that you can truly reach out to either by phone or email or both and get into a dialogue. And they go, oh, I've got 9 people on my list. I got 400 people on my, I got 1,000 people. Well, compared to the tens of thousands out there on those platforms, see, if they're on someone else's platform, you don't have an engaged relationship. So you want to build what we call the lead machine model for you to be able to deepen the relationship with people, to connect with them at a more deep level. Ideally, if you're doing this right, you're integrating 3 things, multiple things. Number 1 is the ability to interact with them by email. But have you noticed that your email open rates are very low? See, if you're just relying on email, you're dead too, right? What else do you want to interact with them? You want to interact with them by phone, like actually talking to people, like connection. Now, in a cool way, a non-hypey, non-salesy way. You can do this with voice broadcast. You can do this with text messaging. The ability to text message a potential client in a cool, again, non-salesy, not overwhelming, but in a relationship-based way leads to so many opportunities. So the lead machines are geared to move people from out here to in here so that you can interact, you can engage, and you can connect with them at a more deep level. Again, building and adding value along the way. That leads to the fourth part of the model and the fourth part of our unique method, which are education-based events. In fact, your entire business becomes an education-based event in all kinds of ways, because again, there's dozens and dozens of tactics around this, but the big overarching thing is think of your business as a publishing business, and your publishing business is all about education-based communication, right? Or education-based events. Now, what are education-based events? It could be a report. It could be a podcast. It could be, it could be a webinar. It could be a challenge. We're agnostic to like any kind of magic buttons, right? Because things come and go. But education-based events done correctly, could be a video, could be a video sales, like could be, so many different mechanisms. What does it do? It compresses the sales cycle. It compresses time. It's almost like if you think of dating, let's simplify all of this down to some basic stuff. If you think of your business like dating, right? And let's say as a guy, right? I go into a restaurant and I'm sitting waiting for my table by myself. And I see someone and we strike up we have a good conversation. I go, hey, can I get your digits? Can I get your number? That would be normal practice, wouldn't it? That would be normal. But could you imagine in that same scenario that suddenly after that young lady gives me her phone number, that I go, oh, by the way, can I get your physical address too? And can I follow you home and it's too overwhelming, right? Yet people get in business or marketing and selling and they start trying so hard to make sales so fast. No, you've got to, that's why the 5 steps work so well. The greatest companies in the world, they don't have a selling system, they have a buyer's system. So what we're showing you, these 5 steps, part of our unique method, is really helping you implement a buyer's system, a buyer's culture, so people buy from you, but it's very strategic. So education-based event, for example, a client we're working with right now, they've been doing things, but they kind of hit a plateau, they hit a flat line in recent months. So they brought us in to help. We help them host an education-based event through one mechanism of dozens and dozens we do, like a webinar. We brought that into the fold, and what ended up happening was they ended up generating 100 new clients for their coaching academy in 30 days. 19 days. 19 days. And they hadn't ever done that before. Right? And I know people say, well, this is outdated. This doesn't work anymore. Paid ads this, paid ads that. When you use all 5 of these steps, you can compress time frames and you can do it in a cool way and you can provide and add value in your marketplace. So again, step 1, vision and growth plan. Step 2 is building connection campaigns. Step 3, build your lead machine. Number 4, education-based events. And then lastly, the 5th step is all about optimize it and implement even more, right? Optimize it and implement even more. So what does this mean? You take what's working, eliminate the stuff that isn't, and then you set it in a system so that it's more on an evergreen basis, more of a robotic basis. It almost becomes robotic-based business, right? Where you're not having to be as involved. Now, here's the downside. We see so many people that get fascinated by technology, get fascinated by automation, and what do? They make the big mistake. They automate themselves right out of business. Because at the end of the day, you're in a people-to-people business. You're in a relationship business. Your business should be built on relationship capital, not just on trying to turn it into an AI where you don't get involved with anything. It's a process. It's a system. So all 5 steps help give you the competitive advantage. Why? Because your competition is too lazy, likely too cheap, to realize what 5 steps really need to be there for success. And when you put these 5 steps, it can give you freedom. It can give you a steady flow of leads daily, a steady flow of clients, as well as the ability to impact and help way more people. So people have often said to me, they said, Dan, I've heard you say openly that you feel that traditional consulting is dead. And yes, that's the truth. Traditional consulting is dead. Because here, think about this. Do you really need more ideas as a founder, CEO, or creative visionary? The answer to that is no, right? You got enough ideas. You have more ideas by 7 o'clock in the morning than most people do in like 90 days, right? Especially if you're the creative visionary type. So you need a new idea like you need a hole in your head, which is what most traditional consulting provides. They give you more ideas. They give you more things to think about. What do you really want, right? You don't want an idea, you want elegant ideas, which a good friend of mine, Joe Polish, says, one elegant idea is better than 1,000 semi-good ideas, right? So what do you want instead? You want to work with someone that not just brings ideas and insights, but they're elegant ideas along with what? Implementation, right? What makes us so unique and so different is not only do we bring the strategy to you, or call it ideas, but we also bring you the team that can help implement. Our company is really like a fractional CMO team or a fractional CEO team or both, that not only brings strategy, but then brings you a team that can implement in a rapid way so you can get rapid growth. It's not uncommon for our clients to 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x the growth and simplify because they've got a marketing system that wasn't just an idea, or it wasn't somebody going, go do this, do this, do this. It was strategy, and then the team was able to implement it in a simple way. So if you're looking for a way, if you want a consultant, by all means, you want more ideas, go get a consultant. But if you want the combination of strategy as well as implementation, especially as it relates to your marketing and selling system, so you can grow exponentially with a lot less stress and escape the day-to-day, or exit and sell, or build asset value in your business so that you can go public, then make sure to take the time to really focus on finding someone who can bring you both. So I often have people say, Dan, I've heard you say openly, like on interviews and all these different things, that hiring an agency is dead. And the truth is, when you think about that, like, do you really just need a team running around doing a bunch of tasks for you with no real direction, right? See, here's the big problem with most agency work, is a founder or CEO wants to free themselves up, which is great. And what they do is they get an agent. Here's why we know this. In working with thousands of CEOs and founders over the last 30 years, in essence, we talk to a lot of founders that have brought in an agency. And for example, in a marketing space or selling space, we ask them, well, hey, when you worked with XYZ agency, did you collaborate to come up with your marketing growth blueprint for your business, custom to you? And almost 100% of the time, the founder or the CEO says, no, we just work with this agency to fill in the blank, run ads for us on XYZ platform, to do this task for us, to do this. The first step is the most important step. It's like that old adage, sharpen twice, cut once, right? Sharpen twice, cut once. So the first step in building and growing and working with a team member or an agency is to have the right plan going in. But the problem is you're busy. You probably haven't taken the time. You're so busy running that many times we don't have the plan. And what ends up happening when we bring in other agency work, or we bring in other team members sometimes, we bring them in for their expertise. We bring them in for their specific skill set, but we don't have the plan. And then what happens is they're running off with no direction. So the very first step, which is also what we do with our program, because we found time and time again it just wasn't happening, is we focus on step one in the beginning before we actually kick off together with the vision and growth plan. We've had many of our clients tell us that step was worth more than a year, 2 years worth of coaching, 1, 2, 3 years worth of being in a mastermind, 1, 2, 3 years working with anybody they've ever worked with before, because what does it bring you when you have the vision and growth plan, right? No longer are you a victim of circumstance to what an agency or an outside group may bring to you. What happens is you're truly able to get your plan in alignment that you want, custom to you and your situation, and then you can truly delegate as a partnership, collaborate as a partnership, versus it being abdicated, meaning you just kind of hand it off, go, hey, you're the expert, why don't you show me, tell me what to do? No, it's a partnership, but it starts with your custom vision, your custom plan. And when you're working with the right partner, right, they can help you put that plan together. But time and time again, we just don't see that. I mean, over 95%, closer to 99% of the companies we've surveyed say, no, we didn't have any kind of plan going in. We just brought them in to do X work. We help you avoid that mistake. Why? Because the number one focus, the foundation, just like a house. Think about this. You know, if we go build a house on sand, you get a strong thunderstorm that comes in, what's going to happen? It's going to be knocked over, right? So we got to build the foundation. So that first step is the most important step. And working with B3X, Breakthrough 3X, we give you the vision and growth plan. In fact, we require it to get going, and then everything becomes much easier working forward. Right? So whether you work with us or you work with somebody, make sure you take the time to put the right vision and growth plan in place for the expectation to be met, and now move away from abdicating to somebody. Focus on your ability to lead and delegate with your custom plan in place. You know, people regularly say, Dan, you know, like, man, I hear about a lot of the clients you've worked with and how you help them transform their business to get success. You know, what's your secret sauce? Well, the truth is, the secret sauce is the focus on our unique method, right? And our unique method allows a business and a founder and a CEO to get free, right, from the day-to-day of their business, to get free from wearing 9 hats. You know, for example, one of the clients, you know, we're working with right now, we hear this time and time again. You know, number one, we go in, our first step in our model is the vision and growth plan. So we ask the founder, like, what is your vision and growth plan of your business for the next 1 to 3 years? And we've got a whole process that we take people through that's architected, not only for us to work with them as partners, but also to be able to help their team get on the same page, get in alignment, to help them carry it forward, right? And I learned a lot of this from sports, you know, the truth is, right? In sports, you know, as a high school football coach, you know, we don't show up on game day and that's it. No, we go through training camp, and in training camp, what do? We cover our expectations, we cover our goals, we talk about what we expect from the kids, etc. Same thing holds true in your business. But sometimes we get too busy, or so busy, you know, just working to build, grow, we don't have the time to get that foundation in place. So the first step is, what is your vision and growth plan? So this, you know, client I'm referring to, you know, we met with him, we said, hey, what do you want to accomplish? He said, well, my goal is so I can get out of the day-to-day. My wife and I are doing too much in sales every day, right? Which we hear all the time. I'd love to be doing less of that because I want to focus on my vision. And I also have a couple other things I want to add to them, and new divisions I want to create, new research I want to do for growing and expanding our reach and our impact. Awesome. So knowing that, getting clear on that makes a big difference when we go in, right? So step one is that vision and growth plan. Second is then we start building connection campaigns in advance. And these work all the time. Like, you never turn them off. They're just constantly working. And there's, you know, dozens and dozens and dozens of different tactics that you can implement just depending on where you're at. We have clients who get started with like a couple dollars a day, literally getting started with their connection, because you might ask, well, is it expensive to do these sorts of things? Well, it's relative. You know, even working with us, we should be free to you working together. Like, our highest value client has paid us over over $1 million to our company, right? Because we're performance based and we help them grow by over 10 million. So to that company where we help them grow by 10 million, they paid us in our company close to $1 million. We're free to them. We're not a cost. We're not an expense. We're an investment, right? And we feel that we should be free, right? Which is why we come in as a fractional CMO and CEO team to help you get a marketing system and a selling system in place to help you grow and expand and get the system in place so you're freed up. So for example, this client I'm talking about and his wife, we got connection campaigns, and you know, literally we've gotten them, you know, campaigns online in different platforms that have gotten millions and millions of views with their very specific targeted perfect clients, right? Very strategically for pennies, like a couple cents a view at a time. And then again, there's a lot of other ways you can do this too. Step 3, help build a lead machine. Now they're in a tight niche. They work with doctors essentially and medical practitioners. So people in the health space. So we help them move people from all these exterior platforms to ultimately move into their platform for creating relationships, deepening relationships, not being out here superficial on some fan page of some kind, but rather being in here that they can communicate, get a dialogue by email that's more intimate, by phone, by text, and other ways, right? Or even by physical mail, right? So when you get those in place, now you have the ability to use education-based events to compress sales cycles, right? It's like hyper dating, right? It's like getting 4 or 5 dates in an hour or two, especially done correctly the way we show you. And this particular client, we help them get these things in place. And they hosted the largest event in the medical profession in their niche. They had like 8,000 registrations for this event, right? And by the way, you don't need 8,000 registrations to build successful campaigns and models and things that are going to work and help you be profitable. But it just happened to be their example. They were so excited. And then they did, 7 figures in less than 90 days. Now, this is a highly above average example. I'll even say for legal purposes, you'll never likely do anything like that quickly, right? Which is the same thing I said to them. But the bottom line is when you put all 5 of these steps in place. So the 5th step, optimize. We were generating so many leads. He was like, my wife and I can't handle these. So guess what we did? We helped them do. We helped them get a sales team in place to handle the leads and then ultimately replace them permanently. So the sales team, now they've got, 5 or 6 total people assigned to the leads coming in every day to follow up, and their business has grown exponentially. We talked to the founder a little while ago in one of our weekly huddles, and he said, "Hey, Dan, I don't know what to do with myself. I have so much extra free time," right? And he was kind of kidding, of course. But now he's able to put more time working on the business, the vision of his business. He's got these 2 other divisions he wants to create. So if you're looking for a way to get free from the day-to-day, if you're looking for a way to exit, if you're looking for a way to potentially set your business up for a higher asset valuation so you can sell it or go public, having a marketing system and selling system in place, and our unique method helps get that in place and create something that also in and of itself becomes an asset that buyers want in their business. Why? We could call it in some ways the freedom model, but we call it the Breakthrough 3X unique method. So apply it, use it, and watch what happens. Whether you work with us or work with someone else, I encourage you, make sure to get clear on your vision and growth plan. Focus on connection campaigns to build trust, respect. Build your own lead machine so that you're deepening relationships and intimacy and connection with your potential clients. Create and host education-based events regularly, right? Education-based events help compress sales cycles. And again, there's dozens and dozens of different ways to do that. And number 5 is optimize it. Optimize it so you can even get more freed up, right? And if you want more information about how we can help you, I imagine somewhere here on the page you can find details of how to do that. But whether you work with us or work with someone, make sure you use all 5 steps in growing, scaling, and making a difference, making a bigger impact. So people sometimes come to us and they go, "Dan, I don't even understand what you do. Like, what do you do for me?" At the end of the day, the short version, we have a whole suite of different programs or services. We custom tailor it to you. So our model is not a one-size-fits-all. We're a boutique business. It's a very intimate relationship. We work as partners together. Our model is also built on revenue share, which means the better you do, the better we do. Our highest value client, for example, has grown by over $10 million, and they've paid us as a company about $1 million, right? We're free to them. We want to be free to you. So without knowing, your business today or where you want to go or all those sorts of things, it'd be hard for me to project for you which of our suite of services or products would be best for you. But here's what you can know. What do we deliver you? At the end of the day, number 1 is we will help you if we have a fit and we're in alignment together and we move forward. We're going to help you as a fractional CMO and CEO team. And what we're going to do is we're going to help you get a marketing and selling system in place to bring you a steady flow of new leads, new clients on a daily basis. So that ultimately your system that we set up for you, right, frees you up so that you can focus more on what you want to focus on, whether that's get more involved in your business or build out new divisions, or maybe you have a dream like some of our clients where you want to sell your business one day, right? A marketing and selling system builds the asset valuation, or maybe you want to go public. Having a system in place where you're freed up gives you the ability to set the stage to go public, right? So just depending on your situation, we customize it. What I recommend, if you really want to understand how we might be able to help you, is somewhere out here on the page you can click a link that will give you the ability to take advantage of a consultation with one of our advisors on the team. And what we'll do is we'll identify where you're at, where you want to go. We'll talk about some of the ways that we can help support you. And again, if there's a fit, we'll actually share a custom blueprint with you to show you how we can help you and the different programs and suite of offerings that we have available that can. So click that link below, hit somewhere on the page here, and we'll look forward to finding out more about you and how we can help. You know, sometimes people ask me, they go, Dan, like, who is the perfect client for Breakthrough 3X? What I would say is a couple factors. Number one, we got to be aligned in our values. That's the most important piece, and I'll get to that in a second. Number two is that you really have a desire to go beyond the money of your business, and that's to focus on, you know, the impact you're making, right? And or what we call it the ripple effect. What's the ripple effect of what it is that you do in the world? So the ripple effect is really critical. So with that being said, here's what we look for. Number one is you're a founder and CEO of a business. And our three core values as a company, number one, hyper growth minded, right? What does this mean? At minimum, you want to grow by 2x. Most of the time, the types of visionary creators, founders we work with are like, they're almost crazy that they want to grow by 10, 20, 30. You know, a lot of the languaging they use, they go, I want to dominate my industry. Now, you don't have to be that extreme, but it's a hyper growth mindset of growth and stretching boundaries and looking at things differently, right? Where we don't work well is company who just kind of want to test the waters and want to grow a little bit, you know, that sort of thing. That's not a good fit for us. So if you're an emerging company that really is hungry to grow 2x minimum, right? And or you're that extreme business owner and founder that wants to grow 10, 20, 30 or dominate your industry, that's likely a good start. The second core value of our company is collaborative and teamwork oriented. Now, what does this mean? None of us have all the answers. And as we work together, which we do, we come on board and work as your growth team every single week, right? And so we have a lot of conversation. It's very high touch. It's very personal in our relationship. So we have to enjoy the collaboration. Now, here's what we do know, is friction creates diamonds, doesn't it? Irritated oysters creates pearls, doesn't it? So collaboration doesn't mean there won't be some level of friction or conflict, but we have to be teamwork oriented. We have to be back to back in our relationship, right? And you know, when we work with a client, we actually put everyone on probation for the first 90 days to verify that our values are in alignment. So the first one, again, is hypergrowth. Number two is collaborative and teamwork oriented, right? And when mistakes happen, which they will from both sides, how we deal with that. Usually we can learn more about someone's true spirit of collaboration and also whether they're growth minded or hyper growth minded in about 5 minutes of adversity versus when things are great, right? So that being said, you know, if you're teamwork and collaborative, this could be a great place to work together. Number three is contribution based, right? Contribution based. Again, it's more than about money. So we call this the ripple effect. So what is your ripple effect? We want to know what your ripple effect is, the impact you're making, the difference that you're looking to make in the world, right? We want to work over the next few years with 1,000 founders and CEOs who through those 1,000 want to impact over 1 billion people to make the world a better place, to help transform lives with their products, with their services, with their tech, with their applications, etc., their resources, their education, and a whole lot more. So if you are a founder that's hyper growth minded, if you are a founder who really values teamwork and collaboration, And if you're a founder or CEO that really wants to have that ripple effect to make a bigger contribution, let's see if we're a good fit. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a chat. We can speak to one of our advisors, and we'll sit down with you. We'll identify where you are, look at where you want to go. If we're a fit, we'll let you know. If we're not a fit, we'll look to get you connected to a resource that is a fit for you versus us. It's all about alignment at the end of the day. We only work with a handful of companies at a given time because this is a hybrid performance-based business model. So we want to make sure that we're a good fit. And if we're not, we'll look to get you connected somewhere. So take advantage, schedule a conversation, let's have a chat, let's see if we're a good fit and go from there. One of my favorite client examples is someone who is a good friend today. And I think when you help people transform their businesses, they become even better friends, or we like to think so. And so he's the head of a mastermind, a company that runs a mastermind, which has become one of the greatest masterminds in the world for entrepreneurs, in fact. And so when I sat down with him over lunch one day next to his office in Tempe, Arizona, I remember sitting down and saying, what do you want to accomplish? And he said, well, Dan, right now we have about 67 members in this, $25,000 program. And I said, well, what's your goal with that? And he said, well, I'd love to get to 100. I'd love to get to 100 new members. And what else would you like? And and he started going into more detail about how he wanted to build out something he called his annual event. And he wanted to also start a community that was a smaller community, but was a higher value one in a range of about 100,000 a year. And then he also had a bigger vision about, wanting to change the conversation about something that's so critical and impacts all of us, which is around addiction. I was like, wow, and after we assessed his business and where he was and where he wanted to go and what we do, said, hey, we can help you. We can help you. Would you like our help? Would you like our help? And in fact, I'll never forget it. I gave him 2 envelopes in our custom blueprint. I said, one envelope here, and this framework comes from a friend of mine named Joe Polish. He says you can have an ELF business, easy, lucrative, and fun, or you can have a half business. And so this particular client, I gave him 2 envelopes. One envelope was a green envelope. It said, if you want an ELF business, easy, lucrative, and fun, open this envelope. If you want to continue to run a half business, hard, annoying, lame, and frustrated, open this envelope. So that particular client chose the green envelope, and we started working together. And what ended up happening is, it wasn't easy in the beginning. There was a lot of learning curve, but this client had so many amazing assets to work with. They had a podcast they were running. They had a great reputation. They had a great bid. They were already a very successful company in so many different ways. We just looked at it and said, we can make it even better. Long and the short, we worked together for a couple years. And we didn't hit our goals, though. We didn't hit our goals. We didn't hit the goal of going from 67 to 100. We actually helped him get to 250. His annual event, the year before we started working together, had like 7 paid attendees. Let's just double it and say it was 20. He had 20 paid attendees. We helped grow that event to its selling out every single year with hundreds of people and an overflow area and a waiting list and all these different sorts of things. He ultimately started that higher level community for $100,000 a year. And when he launched it, he had over 20 some people join it just like that. He's now gone on and been able to have an impact in creating a platform for addiction. And he's changing the conversation. And just watching him be able to, live in this place and this spirit is such a joy. His goal was never to sell his business. His goal was to use his business as a vehicle to make a bigger impact, that ripple effect we talk about. His ripple effect is huge. The indirect byproducts of how many people he'll make a difference for with addiction in their families is priceless, right? And it's such a joy to be able to offer a system for marketing and selling that helps get founders freed up. Many times people say, well, Dan, can you help my new business, right? And the answer, again, it really depends on your situation. But one of my favorite stories of a client we worked with here not too long ago, I'm going to call him Bruce the Artist. And Bruce the Artist came to us like a lot of clients, and they were, and he was like, Dan, I'm overwhelmed. I'm confused. I've been following all these different groups and people, and I'm trying to put all of this in place and it's just not working. I'm stuck in a big way. And I said, hey, Bruce, time out. If we can help show you a way where you can not worry about any of the tech that you're working with, and we could help you have the impact and the ripple effect that you really want. And he said yes. And we got working together. And so we shared with Bruce how to do an education-based event pretty quickly, because it's something you love. Because I said, Bruce, what do you really love doing, right? Because he's an artist. And this is a great metaphor, because whatever it is you do, the passion you have, his is art. He was trying to squeeze a round peg in a square hole to be a good marketer, to be good at building a marketing and selling system. I said, well, Bruce, what if we could free you up and you could just focus on what you do? And we could help build and implement a system. Long and the short, we got working. And his very first education-based event he hosted with no fancy pants tech, right? No funnels, no this, no that, none of these fancy pants integrations that everybody says you have to have in place or you need to have in place. We simplified it all for him. We took it off his plate. He hosted his first education-based event. He did that. He loves to teach. In his very first event, he enrolled 5 new clients into his coaching business, which was amazing. And when we regrouped and said, Bruce, what did you like most about that? He said, well, I love teaching. I said, well, what would you like to do? He goes, I'd love to do this every week for the next couple months. I said, Bruce, let's help you get that system to do it. And that's what he did. Long and the short of it is, after 30 days, he was doing a weekly education-based event with no fancy pants tech, none of the integration. And we handled everything for him. His first 30 days in his business, in this following our processes, he had over 39 new coaching clients in his business. After 90 days, he had over 117 new coaching clients in his coaching business. And he had also built a recurring revenue model of over $4,000 a month, which for him as an artist was life-changing. Since that time, we've also helped implement more tech stuff and more simplicity and more automation. But see, the bottom line is, you don't need all of that stuff. But what you need is the right marketing and selling system. And even more importantly, you don't need to be the one doing it. You can bring in a partner that can help support you to get those things done, to free you up, to get a marketing system and selling system in place to help you get more leads, more sales, more revenue, more growth, more profits, and most importantly, so you can have a bigger ripple effect in your business too.
Thanks for listening to this episode of growthtofreedom.com. Are you struggling to get a steady flow of new clients every day? Or maybe hit a plateau or hit a wall in growing your business? Well, let's help you solve this problem today. Let's review your business and have a conversation. You can do that for free today at breakthroughstrategycall.com. That's breakthroughstrategycall.com. In addition, if you're looking for a simple way to implement some of what we've been talking about in today's episode, then I want to encourage you to get our free small business toolkit. You can get that at activate.breakthrough3x.com. That's activate.breakthrough3x.com. If you'd like access to the special resources and all the show notes for this special episode, make sure to visit growthtofreedom.com.